So, we are in sunny Axminster. Myself and Mr. Tim Milne of Artomatic. Hello, Tim.
Hello, John.
Hello. We have just been in to see, for the last couple of hours really, the Axminster Printing Company and Mr. Keith Rocket to see where the artefact cards are made and how they're made. And generally learn more about printing than I actually knew, a lot more than I knew, but not more than you knew.
No, I guess it refreshed my memory on things that I had thought I'd forgotten.
That was, you had a certain look, there was a certain glee about in your face of, oh, look, I'm back in a print factory. Which is interesting because you've just done that slideshare, which is a brilliant thing on the future of printing.
And this is the past of printing.
This is the past of printing, or at least it is a different present.
It is a different present, yeah, but with a continuous link to the past.
Yeah.
Because what I like about dealing with these people here is that they are a continuous link back to the original medieval print shop of a family-run business with a father and son who just produced stuff for the local community, and that's what printing always was, and still exists as it is today. And I quite like that.
Yeah, it was interesting. So Keith's father bought Axminster Printing. So obviously it ran before probably by another family outfit, but he bought it back in 1969, which is now quite a long time ago. And so it was him and his father, and his son now works in there as well. His son is actually the person who ships all the artefact cards, so when you order some artefact cards, it is young Mr. Rocket who will box it and go to the post office and put it in the mail for you. It's one of the other fellas who goes by the name of Barra, as far as I could tell, was telling me about the way that they make the artefact cards. So they print them on big sheets of 16, then cut them down to sheets of 4, and then nip out the basic shape of the card most of the way round, but then cut it out with a blade at the final section. And he said, it'd be so much easier if they were just like straight cornered, and he said it'd be so much easier if they were just straight cornered because we then just guillotine them all. And then Keith said, yeah, but they wouldn't be as good. So there you go. That's from Keith's mouth. He said it wouldn't be as good if you just did straight cornered artefact cards.
It'd be completely different.
It's funny. It's that playing card thing, isn't it? It's the rounded corners and edges. You know what I think? It's like, so there was a talk by a guy called Indy Johar who talked about sort of like tactile memory. You like this? It's about tactile memory, and apparently tactile memory is the last thing to go. So which is why doing Indy Johar's firm of designers and architects did some care homes, and so I had to pay a lot of attention to the door handles, because tactile memory is the last thing to go in degenerative mind diseases. So actually the feel of something can take you right back to where you are, or where you're meant to be, or where you think you are.
And it's also the first thing that you learn. So if you look at pre-vocal infants, so before they learn the powers of speech and articulating how they see the world, learning the world, what they do is that they stuff things in their mouths.
Yeah, it's not because they want to eat them.
The reason they stuff things in their mouth is they've got more nerve endings in their mouth than anywhere else in their body, and so what they're doing is that they're learning how the world feels.
Our Charlotte does that.
Yeah, all infants do that. And apparently, according to, I think it's Sartre, it's either Sartre or Baudrillard, human beings learn to relate to objects through tactile interaction as a sort of precursor for learning to relate to human beings. So if you deprive pre-vocal infants of object interaction, they find it very difficult then to relate to people.
Interesting. So I should maybe quickly describe where we are. We're sitting in the middle of Axminster Town Square. Town square. A bit grand, isn't it? Calling it a town.
Yeah. I think town is a strong word for Axminster. Well, I suppose it is a town.
Yeah. It's so you're
The Church Green.
yeah. Sat in front of the church, various families and cars driving past. Which, going back to it goes back to what we were talking about the community, about the print shop serving the community. And that's why I think he's good. He's got that mix of there's digital stuff and there's litho and there's letterpress. It's a real sort of like mix of all the different things that people might walk into the printing company
Yeah.
for.
What I love about it is that sometimes you can ring him up and say, "Oh, I'm so busy, there's a garden fete on or something." And, so everybody in the town has suddenly swamped him with orders for booklets and leaflets for the local garden fete.
But no, I think they're really. He said they're really enjoying the challenge of doing stuff that is more because whatever generally we get made for Artefact now gets shipped from there. So if you're buying it in Japan or America, it's getting shipped from this town square. I can see the post office it goes to.
Yeah.
So we know where it's being shipped from now. But it's sort of like that new international dimension to stuff actually might change lots of types of businesses. So actually market printers all over the country might start doing things for all around the world. Because there's that thing about sort of like everyone thinks that you have to send the stuff off to China to be made.
No, you send the stuff off to China to be consumed.
Yeah. But so just the sending stuff off to China thing is not going to be a long-term trend, I don't think. One, because they're getting competitive amongst themselves, so they're trying to push the price up of stuff and go, we're a better factory than that other factory. Two, shipping's going up. Three, I think a lot of people sort of are finding the time problem. Sort of like the time it's not just the cost of the thing; it's the opportunity cost of I want to make a thing and make it good and make it first time and make it now is worth more than I want to make a thing and I don't mind when it turns up or what it looks like.
And that's quite hard to do, is to make stuff so far in advance, because the world could have changed by the time you've made your product.
Yeah. Yeah. So you need things a bit quicker than arriving in a boat.
And printing is intrinsically quick.
Yeah.
So it's a very fast manufacturing process.
So are you enjoying Artefact?
Yeah. No, I like Artefact.
I like it. Yeah.
I like it because I like it. It's a mixture of physical and intellectual, which are my two favourite things.
Maybe there's some sort of like dreadful portmanteau we can think of that. Fintellectual. Well, if you can have phygital, surely we can have fintellectual.
It's making and thinking.
Thinking is making, according to Richard Sennett, or was it making is thinking? I don't know.
And I tell you the other thing I really love about it is it's nothing to do with graphic design, or very little to do with graphic design.
What are you saying about my design chops?
Nothing. But it's the way people. It's not a. It doesn't operate under the rigour of graphic design, which tends to be very dictatorial. Graphic design rules say things have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And Artefact allows you to create things without having anything to do with graphic design.
Yeah.
And that's what I really do like about it.
It is a platform for designing upon.
It's a platform for the vernacular.
Oh, that's nice. A platform for that's very grand. A platform for the vernacular. I'd rather trite expression, which I came up with the other day for it. It's non-stationary stationary. Artefact.
The old stationary
Specialists in
spelling
non-stationary stationery. You can go a long way with a cheap pun.
people have made big careers out of them.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of trucks go through here.
Yeah, right.
Building materials for people's second holiday homes, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, to round off, tell us a bit more about your future of print presentations. I'm going to upload it on the blog, for it is a fine and wonderful thing.
Well, that's very kind of you, John. Well, I decided that rather than twitter on about all these ideas in abstract sound bites that don't seem to make a great deal of sense, I thought I would finally commit them to one bigger thought, which took me longer than expected, but I'm partly inspired by your future of advertising presentation. The basic idea, my take on printing is that it was designed to solve a very specific problem, and that specific problem it solved exceedingly well, but has now been solved by something better, which is digital online communications. So print as it was originally designed is now redundant, but what the digital world has actually offered is the opportunity for print to do what it was always really good at, which is giving people a physical, tactile sensation of something. It wasn't ever that good at distributing information, but you have to be forgiven that has to be forgiven that it's a medieval technology. So
it was the best they had.
It was the best they had in 1439, and it was good enough to last until the turn of the millennium. Yeah. So it was pretty good, really.
I think Mr. Gutenberg did terribly well.
He did terribly well.
It's just a shame about all those police academy films.
And here's the other interesting thing. He did terribly well using technologies that were already existent. He didn't actually invent anything new. He just used lots and lots of technologies that were already there and put them together. Paper, hot metal, thread sewing, books, all of that stuff already existed.
I just thought, well, a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. I think there's a Henry Ford quote that's similar. In Henry Ford, which, I mean, by all accounts, a very nasty and venal little man. Gave the occasional good quote, but his was sort of along the lines of, you should not be under the assumption that I have invented anything new. It's just about the order in which you put things together. So the future of printing is about valuing the bit that was hitherto not valued, i.e. the physical thing, and not valuing the thing that was hitherto valued, i.e. the message. And the message is unimportant now because that's all online. And the future of printing is how it feels.
Exactly. How it feels is how it feels.
How it feels. Well, on that note, I feel cold.
Yes.
Because Axminster is a bit nippy. Anyway, thank you, Axminster. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Barra. Thank you, the Axminster Printing Company. Onwards. Oh.